Hey everybody, Jason Sherman here. In today's episode of Zero to CEO, I have a writer and entrepreneur, Rai Hyde-Cornell, on the show. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
And this is a cool episode because we're talking about leveraging your natural talents to build a thriving business. Usually everyone talks about your academia, getting your degrees in entrepreneurship, business, finance, whatever the path would be for you. But natural talents, we're talking about art, music, building things, being creative. It's like a whole different kind of aspect of this. The first thing I want to ask you is, where did you even discover that you were able to, align natural talents with the business world? Because that's not something that's normal, right? It's unusual.
Right. It's very contrary to what we're taught. And
Right.
I mean, my story is a perfect example of this. I was taught as a kid, you've got to go to college, you've got to get a good job, ideally with the government or some kind of, large entity. My parents were both cops. And so they wanted me to go into some kind of governmental employment. And I pursued that. I was actually this close from getting my license to be a counselor in the prison system after earning a bachelor's
Wow.
degree, two master's degrees, and I completely burned out on that world. And what I did was I threw myself full time into the work that I had done freelance to put myself through school, which was freelance writing. And I had always naturally been a writer. I was one of those kids who always had a pen. I would collect journals. I would always have note cards on me. That was my thing, was words.
What was the moment
Yeah.
that what was a catalyst? Because you were getting burned out, you knew you had this passion, but what was the trigger that said, "Oh, I can actually earn a living from this"?
Yeah, the trigger was up until the point when I actually made the decision. Writing was something that naturally came to me. It was so easy. And I always thought, oh, that's just a side hustle. That's just the way I make my money and I'm paying rent. But when I was working at a mental hospital here in Texas and I was sitting with a patient and he was coming down off of meth for, God, I think this was like the third time that I had seen
Oh,
him in our facility.
it's
And my
terrible.
supervisor wanted me to put him through the exact same protocol. And I'm like, but we've done that. We've tried that and it didn't
Right. Didn't
work.
work. Yeah.
And in the back of my head, I'm thinking about all these writing clients who are saying, "Hey, can you do more for us? Are you available to take on these projects?" And it was like in this one situation, I wasn't valued. My input didn't matter because I didn't have my
Right.
license yet. I was just a cog in the wheel of the revolving door of the mental health system.
And
And on the other,
they wanted you to follow the rules, which,
yes,
in our world as entrepreneurs, rules don't apply per se. It's more like whatever works.
exactly. And then on the flip side of that, I had these companies saying, "Hey, can we have more of your time for this thing that I was just naturally good at and
That
could
we
do in my
value.
sleep?" Exactly. And so that was the pivot point where
Interesting.
I was like, I might as well not throw myself even more into this thing that is just sucking my soul out of me and instead do the thing that comes naturally and wants more of me.
So this is going to, be a lead into this. The reason I asked you that is because in your case, you had a very personal story of how something came at you and it was an aha moment. But for other people, most people watching this or listening to this right now, they don't have that aha moment. They don't have the catalyst that comes in their life and says, you should be doing this. How can they discover what their natural gift might be and then how to translate it into a profitable business?
Yeah. So the first thing is, what is the thing that you just naturally go to when you're stressed out, when you just don't want to think about work, when you don't want to be around friends or family? What do you want to do?
Mm,
And if I used, for example, my husband, he likes to make things. He is an incredible engineer. He just has that mechanical
right.
engineering mind and he can make literally
That's
anything.
cool.
And that's what he can do. I mean, he was a truck driver for FedEx for 20 years and he retired in October to join me in my business. And
Mm,
now he's building his own thing on the side
that's
with
cool.
getting to work with his hands. It's what are you naturally drawn to? Now, you have to be kind of careful because something that you're passionate about shouldn't always be the thing that you make a profit from.
Right.
Sometimes we need those hobbies that are just purely cathartic and they don't have any sort of monetary transaction. But when you have people coming to you saying, "Hey, I really like this bench that you built. Can you make me one?" When you start getting all these signs from the universe, "Hey, you're an incredible piano player. Can you teach my kid how to play piano?" Those things that are calling for you to do this more, you need to see where that's going to go. And I guarantee you, you can create a business out of
Out of
anything.
anything. Yeah, I was about to
Yes.
say. And also, that kind of is part of, I guess, a challenge for people listening to this right now who are saying, "Oh, I have a passion,
Mhm.
but it may not be the exact market demand," right? So like you brought up piano playing. So maybe, you really like teaching kids how to play piano, but there's just not enough parents who can afford piano lessons in your neighborhood and you just can't travel at the moment. So you say to yourself, well, how can I monetize this? Well, somebody at a who owns restaurants might say, "Hey, I can have you play at these
Mhm.
restaurants," but maybe you're shy and you don't want to perform. So this is, one example. There's a million others we can mention. How do you get past the confirmation of going towards what the market is asking for versus what you actually want to do? How do you navigate that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So, this is where what we think is possible is a limitation. And this is where it's often helpful to work with someone who has built other creative businesses and get some outside input. Because as you're talking about that one example, I'm thinking, well, there are government grants that will pay for you to be a music teacher at an elementary school or a
Hmm.
middle school. You can tap into these, arts and humanities resources that are available. But if someone is just thinking, oh man, yeah, I would have to put up flyers or post on my community Facebook group and try to get parents to pay me directly, that might be the only thing that they think of, when really that's only one of 100 different possibilities for how you can get paid for your passion.
How do you navigate that? So you mentioned there's grants, but like as somebody who just knows how to play the piano, they have no idea about grants and they don't even know that they exist. I didn't know they existed, for example. So I know there's grants for a lot of things, but for a music person to teach at schools, I didn't know they had grants for that. I thought that was like a job. Um, so navigating that, like, give me some advice that you would tell someone right now, like, hey, here's what you need to do.
Yeah. First of all, go to your small business administration. Almost every city in town, even mine, which is a little $250,000 town, or $250,000, 250
I want to buy that town. Hold on a
person.
second.
What am I trying to say? The population is
It's 250,000.
250,000 people. There we go. My goodness.
uh,
Even my small town has a small business administration where they
right.
can give you advice on how to build that up. Work with business mentors. Go to Google, type in how to make a living as a piano player, how to make a living as a piano teacher. There are so many things out there that you don't know about. And we don't know what we don't know until we
Until we find
start.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, until we accept the fact that, hey, I may not be thinking of all the possibilities. The problem is when people think, man, I would love to turn this into a business, but there's no way. And then they stop there. You have to be hungry for information.
That happens all the time. And, so this is a big challenge, right? And the big challenge is fear. And the big challenge is, like you said, not knowing and just kind of having a passion, but not knowing what to do with it. So, in your experience, right, over the past, you said 20 years or whatnot, you've been, you and your husband retired after 20 years, but how long
I've
have you
been
been
doing this
running?
16
Hey,
years.
close enough, right? So you're almost at 20.
Yeah.
What were the biggest, I guess, mistakes people made or the biggest issues they faced and how you helped them through those?
That's a good question. So I think this idea that you have to wait for opportunities to come your way, or you have to look only through a certain lens to find the thing that's right for you, that's the biggest limiting factor. But if you're going to make a living from something that you're truly passionate about and talented at, you have to create opportunities for yourself.
Mm.
So, perfect example, I have a friend who literally makes a living spinning basketballs on wine bottles. And you think, okay, how the hell is that
What the
even a
heck?
thing? He does entertainment at parties. He actually also gets paid to travel to third world countries and low income communities and do basketball camps with kids and teach them
Cool.
how to spin basketballs. And he does this motivational speaking while he's at it. And that's one of those things where you never really know what's possible
Yeah.
until you start talking to people. And it all comes down to deciding. First, you have to decide, okay, this is the thing I'm passionate about. Maybe it's piano playing, maybe it's woodworking, whatever the case may be. First, decide, I'm going to do something with this. And then start talking to people about it. Start seeing where could you fit into things that already exist. For
Get
example,
feedback and reactions as well, suggestions,
exactly, because otherwise you're just going to sit there in your living room and you're going to be on the couch and you're going to go, oh, geez, I just like to spin a basketball on my finger. Like, what the hell am I ever going to do with that?
Yeah.
But because my friend started talking to people who were in the community and they go, oh, hey, could you come do this
At a party.
day-long workshop at this summer camp I'm running? And,
That's
we can
even
pay
better.
you. You start talking to people and you create opportunities. Don't put yourself in a box. Think about where can you fit into things? Who would you be excited to connect with? Wave a magic wand and say, hey, in a perfect world, this is what I would love to do. And then go start talking to people about it. Don't discount yourself or cut off your flow of opportunity before you even get started.
This is so similar to the entrepreneurship mindset of showing people a mock-up of your concept to get feedback. This is a passion mock-up, right? You're basically saying, I am passionate about this thing, and I want you guys to tell me what you think about it, and I want you to tell me maybe some ideas I haven't thought of on how I can monetize it. It's the same exact thing as showing somebody a mock-up of an app. It really is. It's like, here's how it works. Here's the buttons you can click on. What do you think it should do next? And it's the same with my talent,
Exactly.
How many people have been pushed onto, The Voice or American Idol or any other show saying, you need to try out for this show. Meanwhile, the girl or the guy was like, well, I didn't think I was any good. You know what I mean? So
I never thought I'd make it.
So it almost sounds like you're saying you also need to have a support system of some sort. Can you tell me a little bit about how somebody who has a passion can utilize people around them or resources or organizations around them? You mentioned the Small Business Association, but what else for people who are just looking for initial help?
Absolutely. First of all, go talk to someone who's done it. And there may not be someone who's done the exact thing that you want. I'm sure my friend Matt Caskey didn't go out and find someone else who spins basketballs for a living, but go talk to people in similar sorts of situations. If you want to be a piano player or a woodworker, look up, piano players who play for the local concert hall. Or if you are looking to do something, like I said, woodworking, look up successful woodworkers and then reach out to them, talk to them. Oftentimes, people are really excited to talk about how they got to the place where they are, especially when it's something that they're truly passionate about. And what an amazing world would it be if we were all doing the thing that we were naturally good at? We would end up with people who are naturally good at being electricians, naturally good at being doctors, naturally good at being teachers. And we
instead of forced into a box because your parents told you should do that growing up and you just went along with it.
Exactly. So go to Google. And as much as I hate social media, go to Instagram. Go see the people who are already doing what you would like to do or some version of it and talk to them. Talk to people like me who build businesses for a living.
There's people watching Dr. Pimple Popper and saying, I want to do that.
Exactly. Exactly. And what can you learn from the people who have come before you? Because I guarantee you, if you pursue this and you start making your way in something that you're passionate about, you're going to have the opportunity to give back to somebody else who is wanting to do something that they're truly passionate about.
Paying it forward. Paying it forward is the way to be. And to lead into what your business does, tell us how you helped a client come to you who was struggling initially, and then how you helped them achieve success. And then tell us about your business and where people can find you.
Sure, absolutely. So I think of one gal who I've been working with for a few years, and she came to me as a writer. She was doing freelance writing for a company, and she just wasn't totally fulfilled. And so I sat with her, we had a few sessions, and what I realized about her is she has this incredible brain where most of us have one side that's dominant. She is so incredibly balanced in her brain that the words and the design, the practical and the theoretical, the tangible and the abstract are so equally present in everything that she creates for her clients that we discovered that's the thing that she needs to lean into. And so she created this almost like split personality creative business that does both. There's the visual heavy side and there's the verbal heavy side. There's the pragmatic side. And then there's this kind of like mystical, amazing, creative, ethereal side.
That's awesome.
And now she is so mentally stimulated in what she does that she gets so excited about everything that she does. And she naturally attracts and draws in the people that want and need her services.
Of course.
And now she's thriving and she's going, I can't believe this is even possible, but
I
I'm
have to
living
hire.
it.
I have to hire people now.
Exactly. She really is. She hired her first assistant this year, actually.
Congratulations to her. That's exactly what we want to see. We want to see you needing to delegate tasks because it's just too big for you. And that's sign of success right there. So tell us where people can achieve the success with you. Where can they find you?
Sure. So you can check out my business mentoring program at chironconsulting.us. That's CHIRON consulting.us. And if you want to see the business that I've built on my own natural talents, that's Cornell Content Marketing. Cornell, like the university, contentmarketing.com.
Love it. Check them out, guys. And thanks for listening. Hope you learned something. Find your natural talent, turn it into a passionate, monetized business with chironconsulting.us and Cornell. See you guys in the next episode.